Welcome to Whispers and Bricks. My name is Ari Sherman. I'm your host. My guest today is Jennifer Lee. Jen, as she likes to be called Jen Lee is the creator and host of the I Need Blue podcast that she started in May 2020, based on her experience of surviving an armed robbery and abduction. As a result, Jen decided to start a platform for other survivors of life events to share their stories. I Need Blue, hosted by Jen Lee, is a podcast series featuring real life stories from everyday people. In addition, Jen partners with local, national, and international organizations to put a spotlight on the services they provide for victims. One of Jen's latest episodes features Susie, a Brevard County mom who lost her son to fentanyl poisoning. Oof. Another story highlights Dr. Finneran, who treated 4 surviving students of the Parkland school shooting. Our first responders face unique challenges and traumas associated with their jobs. Sprinkled within the episodes are topics focused on first responder health and awareness. There are episodes about Blue, B-L-U-E, suicide, undiagnosed PTSD, and many others. At the end of the day, I Need Blue is about creating space where survivors of trauma can feel blue. What does blue stand for? They belong, they feel loved, they feel understood, and most importantly, they feel empowered. Please help me welcome Jen Lee. Jen,
Thank
how are
you.
you? How are
I'm
you?
great. I'm great, Ari. Thank you so much.
So you're in Florida. How are you faring with the hurricanes?
Oh, we made it through. I am on the East Coast, so the eye was just south of us. It shifted, so that was good. We still have our power, so I can't complain. I can't complain. Everything is good here.
Well, that's good. I can't imagine that you ever really do complain. Considering the things that you have gone through, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I'm amazed that you are always good, but not really because, like I said, I know you. We've met, we've talked, and knowing what you've gone through, you're just it's just such a great attitude that you have, and you should be proud.
Thank you so much. I do try very hard to remain positive, and I try to look at life with compassion. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you know, the name of the podcast is Whispers and Bricks. The whispers are those voices telling you what the right thing to do is, and they represent the good in life. The bricks represent the bad things that we go through in life. And let's be real, everybody has a brick thrown at them at some point in time or another during their lifetimes. Some are bigger bricks, some are smaller bricks, some are more bricks, some are less bricks, but everybody goes through something in life. Now, you are the creator and host of the I Need Blue podcast that you started in May 2020. Now, you started that because you got hit with a major brick that I don't think many people actually get hit with. You survived an armed robbery and an abduction. Tell us about that. What was happening? Where were you? What? Tell us the story.
Absolutely. So the actual robbery and abduction happened a decade ago, but 2020 is when I suppose you could say the brick hit me that it was time I was supposed to share my story. And I'll never forget the moment that literally I opened my refrigerator door and it was like somebody slapped me and it was like, you need to do a podcast and it's time to share your story because I never really talked about it. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
really asked. But I was called. I really feel like I was called to start to share it at that time. So that's how May 2020 came about. The actual event, like I said, happened a decade ago. During that time, I was store manager at a women's clothing store.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Saturday. I had the closing shift. I thought it was just going to be a normal day like any other. And again, I always walked into work happy, had a good time. I was like the credit card queen. I could get you to open up a credit card even if it was my day off and I just happened to walk through. It was great. But this particular day, it was about 7 p.m. And there was 9 of us total in the store, including children. I'm in the fitting room helping some ladies. And behind me, I hear, "Give me all your money." I remember I stopped thinking to myself, well, usually I hear, "Can you zip me up? Does this look good?" So I didn't turn around. But again, I hear, "Give me all your money." So at that point, I turn around and I have a masked man pointing a gun at me close enough I could touch it. I remember I looked at the gun, I looked at his eyes through the mask, and then I looked at the gun again. And then at that point, I turned and I headed to the register. From out of the corner of my eye, I could see him wave the gun for the other customers to follow my lead. I get up to the register area. We have 2 cash registers. I start to empty out one, and as I'm doing this, he has the customers lined up to my right, and he's proceeding to take the money from them. I remember, so as not to speak, I held up the till, and I did like a Vanna White with my hand over the coins, and that was my way of asking him, "Do you want the loose coins as well as the bills?" And he said no. I proceed to the other register, I clean that out, give him all of the money. And he looks at me and he says, "Where's your safe?" I said, "We don't have a safe," which was true. He was looking behind me, and that was the swinging door to our back room. And he asked me, "What is that?" I said, "That goes to the back room, my office, storage." At that moment, I knew that's where he was going to want us to go. And the best way I can describe it is I had almost this like out of body experience where all of a sudden these strangers, these customers became my kids. I became like Mama Bear, like this ultra need to protect that I had never felt before in my life. So he made it clear he wanted us to go through that swinging door to the back. I ushered everyone to go in front of me so that I was last. At this point in my mind, I'm thinking, he has all of our money. What more does he want? He's still in the store. It's 7 p.m. Saturday night. I'm in a strip center. It's very busy, and he's still here. So if he was going to hurt someone, if that was his intention, I needed it to be me. It wasn't I wanted it to be me. I needed it to be me because I would not have been able to live with the fact somebody got hurt on my watch. Make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yes. It was a very interesting, intense feeling. So all of the customers go through the door. I'm last, and he stops me and he says, "Where's your safe?" And in that moment, I knew he didn't believe me, and that was not good for me. And I told him again, I said, "We don't have a safe." We proceed around the corner, and now we're all in the stock room, which is where my desk is. We're lined up in front of my desk. He asked me to pull the phone out of the wall, the landline. So that always dates my story, makes me chuckle a little. So I pull the landline out, and I'm watching as he takes the cell phones from the customers. Now, we had a newly constructed room back there that we used for hangers and fixtures, things like that. And he asked me about that room, and instinctually, I knew that's where he was going to have us go next. And I also knew when I had to turn to go into that room, he would see the outline of my cell phone in my pants pocket. So I too relinquished my cell phone to the robber. I ushered for everyone to go first into the room, and I came in last. I remember he asked me a very odd question about the door, something about how it closes. We had never closed that door. We had no reason to. So I told him that I'd never had closed it, so I'm not sure. He looks at us, pointing the gun, and he says, "Don't say anything and nobody will get hurt." Mind you, in this time, I have children crying. I have a mom trying to console them. I have praying. I remember